Hi, my name is Borislav Petrov, but most 3ds Max users know me as Bobo. I have been using MaxScript since its introduction in release 2 back in 1997, and it will be my pleasure to guide you through the amazing world of scripting. This DVD is entitled MaxScript for the Masses for two reasons. First, I believe that certain scripting skills should be part of the basic knowledge of any 3ds Max user, just like the menus and the keyboard shortcuts are. Second, because all of the topics I'm going to cover are related to working effectively with massive numbers of objects, something MaxScript excels at. Most 3ds Max users assume that MaxScript is a form of black magic practiced by a few masters. This is very far from the truth. MaxScript has only few syntax rules and is much closer to English than many languages spoken around the globe. Learning a new language can be a long process, but there is a saying that the basic knowledge of a language should allow you to get some food and a place to sleep in a foreign country. Assuming that this is true, you are actually closer to speaking MaxScript than, for example, Bulgarian, because MaxScript is spoken in a land that you probably know well already. The world of 3ds Max. Until now, you have been talking to 3ds Max using a gesture-based language. You have moved the mouse pointer with the hand and pressed keys trying to tell the software to perform certain operations. This is okay in many cases, but the moment you have to find an object with a specific property hidden among thousands of objects, or to change a single property in hundreds of unique objects, things become difficult. Wouldn't it be easier to simply tell 3ds Max what you want it to do in a simple sentence? This is what this DVD is going to teach you. You will be amazed how much can be achieved with a single, simple line of MaxScript code. The following lessons will introduce you to some simple MaxScript expressions that will help you communicate with your beloved 3D application on a new level and save you lots of time. In the first chapter, Arrays and Object Sets, we'll take a look at the MaxScript array values and the system object sets, which will allow us to access and filter multiple objects, collect them in lists, and iterate through these lists using for loops. In the chapter Working with Object Sets, we will apply the theory to some practical cases and see how we can select, hide and unhide large number of objects using arrays and object sets. In the third chapter, Filtering Object Sets, we will apply the theoretical knowledge about filtering arrays to scene objects and see how we can find objects by class, property, modifiers, and so on. The next chapter, Working with General Node Properties, we'll expand the filtering topic on the general node properties like position, scale, and material. In filtering by mesh properties, we'll take a look at the mesh property of geometry objects and see how to safely locate objects that have too many polygons. In mass changing properties, moves on from simply finding objects by certain properties to actually changing these properties to new values. The seventh chapter, Randomizing Properties and Renaming Objects, continues the theme of changing properties, but this time using random values, and automatically assigning unique names to any number of objects. The eighth chapter, Attack of the Instanced Clones, provides some insight into the instancing and referencing system of 3ds Max, and shows how to use the amazing power of this feature on any number of scene objects and even do things that are close to impossible using the 3ds Max user interface. In the ninth chapter, Working with Modifiers, we'll see how to add modifiers to any number of objects, turn massive amounts of modifiers on and off, delete modifiers from any number of objects, and also conditionally add modifiers only when needed. The 10th chapter, Working with Animation Keys, will introduce you to the basics of animating using MaxScript and will show you how to manipulate the timing of new or existing animation keys to affect the final animation. The 11th chapter, Working with Materials, provides a simple introduction to creating and assigning materials to objects using MaxScript. The last chapter, Saving Objects, will show you how to save groups of objects to new Max files, even save every single object to a separate file, and how to do the same using the supported export file formats. Finally, it shows how to import the multiple exported files back to a single scene. As you can see, we have lots of topics to go through, so let's begin with the first chapter, Arrays and Object Sets.